task on for them, like they couldn't do it themselves. And I saw myself crash right in the middle of the aisle. And that's actually exactly what happened to me a couple of years later. I crashed. I found myself sitting in the bottom of my closet with my shoes, wanting to run away. I just wanted to get out. I wanted to escape. I couldn't go on anymore. And I learned the hard way that self-care is the first thing we have to do to take care of others. It's the first thing we have to do to take care of our employees. It's the first thing we have to do to take care of our customers and clients. And it's crucial in forming business partnerships. Because in order for our business partners to rely on us, they need to know we're going to be there and not hiding in the closet. So I'm incredibly committed to reducing the amount of closet moments in all of our lives. And I'd like to encourage us to think about self-care a little bit differently. Since I'm a workplace communications expert, I've seen these patterns in companies of all sizes, from Fortune 500 companies to solely operated proprietorships. It's the same kind of pattern where we're working and we're working so hard, and then we get frustrated when it's not working, right? Why aren't other people committed? What's not working? I'm doing everything, I'm ticking off all the boxes, but we skip that first step, self-care. So that looks a little bit differently for everybody, right? There's no one particular way to do self-care. So one of my favorite models is the process communication model. And it was actually built on observation. And observation of people's transactions and interactions by Dr. Tavy Kaler. And Dr. Tavy Kaler found out that there are several different types of motivational needs that we each have. And in order to be our best selves and to function productively, we've got to get those needs met first. So here's a couple of different ways they might look. Maybe we love a to-do list. Maybe recognition for your work is your absolute favorite thing. So if you find that you like to put things on your to-do list that you've already done, just for that sense of satisfaction of crossing it off, that's a great thing. That's a great thing to know where we get our motivation. But not all of us are motivated by our work and our recognition for our work. Some of us want to be recognized for who we are as a person. That I matter for me. Not about what I do for anybody else, but because I'm unique and special. So if that resonates with you, then maybe those phone calls that you get with someone special, right? Maybe when you dress up and you just feel a little bit better in that newer outfit or your favorite outfit. That's a way of getting our motivational needs met too. So I'll name a third one. A third motivational need. Serious stuff. It's fun. About 20% of the population are motivated by just spontaneous play. So, anyone have an example of what that might look like for you? I noticed that colorful outfit. I had your motivational needs nailed the minute you walked in the door. Are you a fan of videos? YouTube videos? What's your favorite? Some? What do you do for fun? I do. We really want to know.
I do love opera. That's mostly what I love.
Opera. Okay.
And I do on some of the day, I have fashion. I like.
Okay. So we've got fashion, we've got singing. Anybody sing in the shower? That's the only place I'll sing. You'll be happy to know. So these might seem like silly things, but they're actually really crucial. And it's important for us because we can't get to the opera every day. We can't always go visit with our favorite person or our family every day. So it's important for us to know, how do we get those motivational needs met? So do you have some sense of maybe what area your motivational needs fall in? Is it maybe planning and getting things done? Is it more in maybe the recognition of person area? Maybe it's fun. Maybe it's your values and beliefs. Getting those acknowledged. Maybe it's just solitude. That's an actual motivational need to just withdraw and have time to reflect. So now that you've picked yours, let's think about what's one simple thing you could do each and every day. One little thing. Make it easy. Make it it something you know you could do every day. Because that's our first ingredient for turning our conversations into cash, is making sure that we get ourselves lifted up before we go interact with others. Because we all know what that feels like when somebody comes to us to have that conversation, right? And we're just, oh my gosh, when is this going to be over? I'm trying to listen, I've tuned out, I'm listening again. But that's what happens when we're not coming from our fullest self, is it's harder for other people to engage with us. So we've got our first, number one ingredient, self-care. Any questions about self-care, why that's important? Want me to bore you with some of the behavioral research and science behind it? I could go on all day, but I won't. You can certainly follow up with me afterwards. That's a great question. That's a great question. And there are lots of tools out there that will help raise our self-awareness. So one of my favorite tools is called the Personality Pattern Inventory. And while it does have to be administered by a professional, one of my favorite things about that particular tool is it will tell us how and why our needs change over time. Because we all know that we do change. Sometimes we like listening to different music. We like different clothes. We might even start hanging out with different people or have a career change because we don't find the same sense of satisfaction. So that's a really powerful tool for finding that out. And there's also a really simple tool of just tracking it. Just journal. Write in your journal every day. What is it that you've committed to in your recipe? And then start tracking it and just noticing. Did I have a better day today? And did I happen to do that one thing? Did I happen to watch my cat videos today? You know what? Anybody a fan of funny cat videos? Believe it or not, they're a great motivational tool for those of us who just need to have a little fun and levity. So my recommendation, if you're looking for something simple and free, then track it. Track it and notice what works for you. And if it stops working for you, because sometimes things do, right? You do the same thing over and over and over and it loses a bit of its luster, then it's time to just experiment again and get curious. So it's not about getting it right. It's not about being perfect. Trust me, from the girl who crashed and ended up in her closet, perfection is not the goal. Progress is the goal. Yeah, just experiment, get curious, try something new. About being self-full. I think a lot of us have this idea that it's selfish to put our own needs first, but really, I like the term self-full because we know that we have to fill ourselves up first in order to be of service to others. So now we're ready to move on to our second ingredient, adaptability. So adaptability is something that can only happen once we've been self-full. Once we've taken care of ourselves, we're really consistent with getting our own needs met, then we can actually start looking at others and saying, what do they need and how do I need to shift for them? And once we actually have paid attention to our own needs, now we can start looking for those little clues in not what people say, but how they say it. Because we might all have the same message, but how we deliver that message is different. And that is what gives us the clues about how people want us to show up in conversation. So when we're out networking, instead of being in the fight or flight mode, like our ancient prehistoric brains have given us all of that fight or flight, and oh my goodness, it's uncomfortable, make a game out of it, right? Like, hey, I'm just going to try to find out what that person is looking for from me. And who cares if I get it wrong, right? That's how we learn. Let's just try to shift it up and be adaptable. So being adaptable, it's like when you're listening to the radio, right? And you don't have that station tuned quite right, and you're getting a lot of the does that sound familiar? It's the same thing with communication. When we're not on the same station as someone else, the communication's not going through. So it's not about what our message is, it's about how we're delivering our message. And that's really important. It's important for our customers to be able to hear us, right? And be able to really hear the message that we're delivering. Especially if we're looking for potential partners, Are a lot of people in this room in that place, looking for partners, looking for potential clients? So it can get stressful sometimes, right? It's real, the struggle can be real. So how can we add a little levity and fun into those conversations? By listening to how they say what they say, and then seeing if we can switch our channel to match theirs. So if we don't, what's the risk? What's at risk if we're on the wrong channel?
You can't understand them first.
Yeah, we have misunderstandings, absolutely. Those are kind of the most subtle levels. Definitely missed opportunities, absolutely. I can totally relate to that. I have a story about missed opportunities. This was many years before I was on that plane, and many years before I ended up at the bottom of my closet. And I worked at this gorgeous mountain lodge, and I was the catering director. And I worked with this chef, and as you can imagine, beautiful mountain lake, lots of couples coming and wanting to get married. Can you picture it? It's just this beautiful, serene mountains on all sides of the lake. The lodge backed right up to it. You had views from every window. So couples would come and I would show them the property and we'd be all excited and I'd meet their family. What did you envision for your wedding? And inevitably the conversation turns to what? How much? And probably one of the other things some of us are thinking about, food, right? Food, what are we gonna serve? What are we gonna serve at the wedding? And that depends a lot on the cost, right? Depending on what we serve. What's the budget going to be? So I would find myself going to Chef Aaron and I would say, Chef, they'd really love to see some sample menus. What do they want? I can cook anything. Okay, well they're not really sure what they want. Can we have some sample menus to show them? Just tell them I'll cook them whatever they want. This went on week after week, month after month. Where's my sample menus? Help me help our clients. And I didn't understand then, because I didn't have the tools, I didn't understand that I was just on the wrong station. We had miscommunications, we had missed opportunities. I mean, who wants to book a wedding without seeing what sample menus we have to offer them? No matter how great the venue is. And there's some more serious things that happen as well. There's the counterproductive behavior that comes. If these subtle miscommunications, these missed opportunities go on and on and on, if somebody keeps being communicated with in a way that isn't their station, it can get ugly. It can get ugly. And that's true for all of us. That's why self-care is so important, because we can always invite people in to productive communication, whether they accept it or not. That's always up to them. So I'd like to role play for you just a few of the ways that these warning signals can look. So even if they're not directed at you, these are great things to pay attention to. If you hear a potential client or a business partner say them, or maybe you hear them yourself, these are kind of the red lights. Wah, wah, wah. These are our warning signals that we're about to have some major counterproductive interactions ahead. And it's time to switch up our communication style. So here's one of my favorites. If I want something done right, I just have to do it myself. Anyone heard that?
Yes, very often.
Maybe we felt that. Yeah. Here's another way it can look. It's not my fault. Nobody trained me on that system. I just got a demo. I'm supposed to know how to pull the report. That's not my fault. That's not my fault. How about this one? Oh, I was just trying so hard to do everything for everybody else. I guess I just screwed it up. I'm so sorry. I'm always doing that. So if both people in the interaction are not okay, we know we're not having a productive interaction. When I'm okay and you're okay, then we're having a productive interaction. And that's always our goal in being adaptable, right? It's just meeting people where they're at. Do they need us to be a little more lively and fun? Do they need us to be more straightforward and logical? And I will tell you, if you need that from me right now, we are on step number 2 in the ingredient list. We have one more ingredient to go. Sometimes people just need to know what we believe and what we value. Those are all real needs in communication. And our only goal is just to switch it up to try to get the right match, to be adaptable. So now that you saw some of my womp warning signals, I'd like to challenge you when it comes to being adaptable. Which one is the least comfortable for you? Let's get a little uncomfortable for a minute. Which of those communication styles is your least comfortable? Because in creating your recipe for conversations that create cash, that's the area we want to stretch, right? The one that you use the least. And so you can take an assessment. There are assessments out there for that. And there's also just experimentation of kind of really looking at the conversations where we missed the opportunities and going back and reflecting on that. Like, why was that uncomfortable? You know, why didn't we understand each other? And then really looking at our own comfort level for what can we do to practice being a little more comfortable with being uncomfortable? Where can we stretch ourselves to be more adaptable? As leaders, that's what it's all about. If we want people to feel our passion and we want to turn that passion into profit, then we've got to get our message out there. And getting our message out there in a way that everybody can hear our message and everyone understands our message is about delivering it in many different ways. How does that sound? Does it sound uncomfortable? I'm not going to lie. It's a little uncomfortable. But so is working out, right? We work those muscles. Well, I say we. I mean some of you. But those are the things we do, right? A little bit of pain for a lot of gain. It's the same. We've got to do our communication reps. We've got to have a plan in place to get our needs met. We've got to have a plan in place to stretch ourselves into those places of communication that aren't that comfortable for us, so that when we do have a networking opportunity, we do have maybe somebody who wants to work with us, we are able to shift and meet them where they're at so that we don't miss that opportunity. So back to the story of me. I'm going to fast forward now, way after Chef Aaron. Long after I was on that plane and in my closet, 10, 15 years later, I find myself in a mid-sized company building their training department. And I find myself saying things to myself like this. Why am I the one always doing this work? I don't understand when there's a deadline. They're out there joking around in the hallway and I'm in here doing all the work. But now I have tools. I have tools that I didn't have when I was working with Chef Aaron. And I have that little ding, ding, ding. Like, wait a minute, is this really how this situation has to be? Or is there something that I can do to shift it? And so I got really committed to my self-care routine. Before I went in that office, I made sure I took care of myself. And I got myself in a happy place. That I was okay with me when I walked in that door. And then I started experimenting. And I started trying out different things to work with this colleague where we'd just been butting heads for so long, it was becoming a habit that I was afraid we wouldn't be able to break out of. And it took work. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't immediate, but it did change. It did. We actually became friends. We actually were able to support each other through some really challenging times and layoffs with the company. And it wasn't always perfect. There were times I put my invitations out there for productive communications and they weren't accepted. I'd love to tell you the Disney version of this story. I'd love to tell you, oh, it was perfect all the time. But here's what did change. My experience. My experience was totally different. My experience to inspire other people around me, that changed. My hiding in my office because I didn't want to deal with the situation, that changed. And it's possible to have that different experience. It's about training our brains. You know, like it or not, we still have those brains that we've had for a long time. They haven't changed. They're still looking for problems. Our brains are still trying to find ways to keep us safe. So it takes diligent effort on our part to put routines in place that train our brain for something different, that train our brain to focus on our passion, that train our brain to focus on our vision, that tell us, I can have a conversation that turns into cash. I just got to take care of myself and be adaptable. But ultimately, it's a choice. Ultimately, it really does come down to, am I going to choose compassion? Am I going to choose to connect? Because if I don't make that choice intentionally, I know where I'm going to go. It's in the closet. And it's going to look like me trying to control the situation. You'll know where to find me. I'm easy to find. And it's such a different way to live, when we choose to be compassionate with ourselves. We make mistakes. That's human. It's okay. It's okay. It's not about perfection. It's only about progress. Are we trying to get better? Are we making progress towards becoming the best version of ourselves? Are we making progress towards our passion? Sometimes, in all of this work that we're doing, we do forget to celebrate some of the little exciting things along the way. We forget to celebrate when somebody picks up the phone when we call. Yay! Somebody picked up the phone and I didn't go right to voicemail. Somebody picked up the phone and I actually got to set an appointment. Yay! Yay! Those are exciting things. We can lose that excitement in the mundaneness of searching after our passion, but we got to make sure that our passion is still there at the end of the road, right? Sometimes we've got our plan, we've got our business plan. Hopefully you've got your self-care plan that you'll take away with you. I hope that when you have those situations where you feel like there's some butting heads or there's the missed opportunities and miscommunications, I hope that you will remember that there's a choice. And the choice is either to try to control it and make it different than it is, or it's to choose compassion and just try to connect and get curious. So which choice are you going to make? And do you have the tools to support you in the choice that you make? Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for hearing my story. I know you've been sitting for a while. So I'm happy to take a couple of questions. I think we have time for that. Okay.
Do you provide that test you were talking about, that personality test?
I do. And actually, if you're curious about it, I have a little box on my table where you can submit an entry form for a free leadership communication assessment and strategy session. That's a great question. Yes, it's not a very well-known assessment, but it's very powerful. It provides a lifetime full of tools and learning. Thank you for the question. Any other questions? The last line that I said about choice? Sure. Hold on, let me get into character. Gotta switch my channel. So we do have a choice. We have a choice. And I hope you feel how important it is to me, because I know what happens when we don't choose compassion, when we choose to try to control a situation or another person. We get a very different result. And so I invite you, I encourage you, I challenge each of you to choose compassion and to choose to connect, because when we choose to connect, those are the profitable, long-lasting business relationships. I wish you all so much success. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, LaRita. Great, inspiring speeches, both of them. How about one more round of applause to LaRita and Michael? Thank you very much. I don't know about you, but I feel really pumped up now. I'm kind of, now I know I'm an expert, right, in raising capital. And I'm also now an expert in human psychology. So, hey, I can get connected to clients. So let's make deals. I feel like signing something tonight. All right? Yeah. So I feel really pumped up. I think I will feel even more pumped up if there was an open bar here. No, no, not this year. Maybe next year. Next year. Yeah, but I wanted to just take a moment just to thank the sponsors who, without their sponsorship, would not be able to have this done. So Coral Springs Economic Development Office, Claro Cian, Research and Marketing, Transworld Business Advisors, The Keys Company, Greenlight Home Care, Scott Evans Production, Minute Marketing Production, Innovation Hub at Broward College, Small Biz Central, and IT Business Solutions. So thank you all very much for your support. Right, so I'm going to turn it over now to Carlene for the closing notes, and then we can go on with more networking. Thanks very much.
Thanks again, Wilson. Wilson also sits on the Coral Springs Economic Development Committee, and he also has a company that Greenlight Health.
Yep.
So often we forget to introduce ourselves or our business when we're here. I am the CEO of Claricity Research and Marketing, and my booth is right over there. We invite you to stop by. There were a few other sponsors that were left off. Well, not left off, but those were the gold sponsors and silver sponsors that were mentioned. The bronze sponsors, we also thank you very much for your support. You are listed on the back of the programs there, so please visit our sponsors because they made this event possible. So don't just rush through the door and sit down. Please stop by their tables, get some information from them. We have food, so feel free to help yourselves with some foods at the back there. And have a great evening. Let's see if there's anything else I have to say. We're going to be giving away prizes. We're waiting for the end. We have some prizes from Edible Arrangements and from Metro Diner. There's a new restaurant just opened in Coral Springs. But we're holding those door prizes until the end. So if you need, stick around and we'll have those prizes for you. Thanks again for everyone coming out, and we need to have a round of applause for our speakers. They were excellent.